to feel the love in this room. Welcome to this most auspicious evening, our interfaith family reunion. It's healing time together. And I would like to open with an excerpt from All the Hemispheres by the Sufi poet Hafiz. Change rooms in your mind for a day. All the hemispheres in existence lie beside an equator in your heart. Greet yourself in your 1,000 other forms as you mount the hidden tide and travel back home. All the hemispheres in heaven are sitting around a fire, chatting, while stitching themselves together into the great circle inside of you. We have a beautiful evening planned, and what a gift it is to all be here together. A special hello and love to our online viewers. Hi, Mom and Dad. Love you. We have dear friends watching all over the globe, and we welcome them energetically right here into this space. And I promise you that we will all be out of here in time to watch the Broncos win the game tonight, just so you know. That's happening. And you know, we are so blessed by the collective wisdom of our speakers this evening, and so it is just such an honor to have them with us here once again, and I want to take a moment and introduce you to them or reintroduce you to them, and I'll just do that right here. Reverend Elzia Saku, who is a beloved minister here at Mile High Church, yes, who is also a former imam in the Muslim tradition. And so what a blessing and just a wealth that he brings to this evening. Thank you so much. And we have Rabbi Stephen Booth Nadav. Yes! Of Kavod Senior Life in Wisdom House, Denver. So glad you're here. And our dear friend, Reverend Amanda Henderson, who is the director of the Interfaith Alliance of Colorado. So wonderful. So wonderful. Of course, our beloved senior minister, Dr. Roger Teal. Please stand. Such a blessing to have him here. Our spiritual leader, we have Dilpreet Jammu, and we have Noreen Singh, who are from the Colorado Sikhs. So glad to have them here as well. And of course, Doug Goodfeather, who is here from the Lakota Way Healing Center. Such a blessing. Such a blessing. You know, our Muslim sisters and brothers around the world are steeped in a beautiful spiritual practice in which they pray 5 times a day. The adhan, or the call to prayer, is sung out to announce that it is time to stop whatever someone is doing and to remember the truth, to turn to prayer and to mindfulness. And so it felt quite apropos to begin our evening together here, this beautiful interfaith evening of peace and oneness and love and unity, to begin with the Muslim call to prayer. So I invite you to once again take a deep breath, relax, and take in this evening.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya lis-salah. Hayya lis-salah. Hayya lil-falah. Hayya lil-falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Good evening, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here on this family reunion day, to have our brothers and sisters in faith together. And so I first want to greet you in the greetings of all the prophets from Abraham to Muhammad, which is the greeting of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Islam is built on a foundation of peace. The very word Islam itself is derived from the word salam, which means peace or surrender. And it is built on the foundation of unity, prayer, and the brotherhood of man. In the Quran, in the 2nd chapter, the 62nd verse, it reads, "Be ye Muslim, Christian, Sabian, or Jew. If you believe in God in the last day, and you do good, you shall have your reward with God." What more beautiful can we say about our existence as mankind living in harmony together? One family, one tribe, one nation, with a faith that covers the spectrum of the divine. All different modes of prayer and worship and singing and dancing, all giving reverence to the divine. And now is the time for us to come together, to exhibit this peace, to live this peace, to show the love that we were born into and as of. And so, as our time for stepping not in the background, but in the foreground of the world, to sing and bring peace forward in our lifetime, there is a chapter called Wal Asr that I would like to close with. And it goes like this. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wal Asr. Inna linsani lafi khusr. Illa ladina aminu wa amilu wa salahati. Watawasa bil haqqi watawasal bis sabr. Verily, by the token of time, man is at loss, except those who come together in truth, patience, and consistency. So let us begin tonight to be true, consistent practitioners of peace. Thank you very much.
In the beginning was love, and love was with God, and love was God. God is love, and all who are born share God's love. The energy of love from God radiates within us and passes through us, the great life force. Perfect love casts out fear and division and brings healing and life, thriving relationships, thriving communities. We know this love, don't we? And yet, too often we have bought into myths of division, myths of superiority and inferiority, myths that pit us one against another for race or gender or sexuality or religion or income or political party. We cry out because we know that division is not a new narrative. Division is the sin of our earliest interactions, the brokenness that we hear of in Bible story after Bible story, from Adam and Eve's turning away, to the brokenness and division between the children of Abraham, in the lives of Isaac and Jacob and David. Superiority in multiple forms has infiltrated our thoughts and our society and has taken shape in our material reality. in ghettos and forgotten neighborhoods, in barrios and border towns, and in high-end shopping malls and enclaves of stored wealth and gated, isolated communities. But this is not how it has to be. Before we become paralyzed in despair, we must remember our beginnings. You are born of God. They are born of God. We are born in love. Now, this love is far deeper, far more powerful, more radical, scarier than a love song of sorts, because it requires us to face the myths of division that are so a part of our embedded reality, to challenge our assumptions, to speak out when we see the flames of division being fanned by those in power or even by our own friends and family. In the midst of this lifelong process of seeking to overcome divisions, we can find hope in the radical reality that is central to my Christian faith, that God is love. Love comes from God and flows freely for all. Love is not a matter of getting connected. It's a matter of seeing that we already are connected. We are all made of the same dust, moving through the same planet, faced with our own problems, fears, and hopes. We must make way for this free-flowing connectedness of God's love, rooting out divisive language and stereotypes, working tirelessly to build just economies and fair laws. We must let go of hurtful ways that block our ultimate connection to one another through God's love. For when we do, everything changes. Everything changes. Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I might not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is when we give that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying to oneself that we are born to eternal life. May it be so. Now join me in welcoming the one and only Hazel Miller.
So moved to be here tonight. There's no crying and singing. That's Darren Johnson. And sitting there on piano is Mr. Rob Lowe. Sarah, the ever wonderful Stacy, and Tom Litch. Thank you for inviting me. I don't know what to say. Don't you trouble the water, no, no. Still waters run deep. Yes, they do. Oh, yeah. When you're down and out, when you're on the street, and evening falls so hard, I will come by you. I'll take your part. Oh, when darkness comes and things is all around, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down like a bridge, troubled water, I will lay me down, leave it alone. Still waters run deep, yes they do, yes they do. Oh yeah, woo! Oh yeah, sail on, silver girl. You know you got to sail on by. Your time has come to shine. All your dreams are on their way. See, woo, see from the shine. If you ever need a friend, look around, I'm sailing right. I'm sailing right behind like a breeze over troubled water. I will ease your mind. Woo! Troubled water. I will ease your mind. Better leave it alone. You got to let it be. Still waters run deep. Yeah, yeah. Don't you trouble the water. You better let it be. Still waters run deep. Yes, they do. Oh, yeah. If you only believe.
Wow. We've been to church. Oh. What a blessing you are, Hazel Miller. Thank you. Thank you so very much. What a blessing. Mother Teresa said, whatever religion we are, we must pray together. Whatever religion we are, we must pray together. And so we have an opportunity to do that tonight together. I believe each of you received one of these Peace in Our Lifetime cards when you came in. And so we're going to take a moment, and I want you to take some time together in this beautiful energy that's been created here of oneness, and reflect on this election, on this time, on the week that is coming up and the weeks that will follow. And I invite you to, in whatever way feels comfortable for you, to write down your own personal prayer for our country. There are pencils in the seat backs in front of you. And if for some reason you didn't receive one of these cards, or you need a pen or a pencil, just raise your hand and our ushers will come by and give you whatever it is you may need to support you in this. So let us just have this prayerful time together. Please begin. So just about another 30 seconds or so. And if you're feeling rushed, please don't. I invite you to, if you'd rather, you can drop your prayer off at the Prayer and Care Center directly following service. We have a practitioner who will be there to receive them, if that's better for you, if you want more time. Otherwise, just a few more seconds here to complete your prayer. So now I invite our ushers to come to the sides here, and if you would just pass your prayers down, they will put them in the basket. And we'll gather all of our prayers for peace for the country, and our ushers will put them in these clear containers right up here on the platform. And as these are being gathered, I invite you to take this time to affirm peace and love and oneness for our country in whatever way feels right for you. Thank you. Thank you. And now I would like to invite Dr. Roger to please come forward to do a blessing for our prayers of peace.
If you'll join me in this beautiful evening. Prayer is power. Let us know that. Prayer is a consciousness freed to exude the reality of the divine love. And so tonight, we know that the prayers that have moved from our heart and our very being move into that field of oneness to see the expression of their intent. Therefore, I bless your hearts, your vision, and I bless the light that shines within you, as I know it moves forth to do great and mighty and wondrous things in this world. And I affirm that peace is the reality of God, and that out of darkness, light shines. Out of rancor and hate, love arises victoriously. And out of change, evolution unfolds. Peace is the final reality everywhere, and we affirm across this land of ours, this great land that is birthing a greater unity and a greater understanding and taking its next step forward in brotherhood and sisterhood. We give thanks for the peace that is, and we let it be, now and unto forevermore. And may we together declare, and so it is. Amen.
All right, here's a healing for you. Let me walk to the banks of the river of love, where the current runs deep, baptized in the one, where there's no separation and the light is all we see, honoring all our differences, and love will set us free. Hey, yeah, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I say, oh, you rock my soul. I say, oh, you rock my soul. Yeah, I see the blessings of the past. Oh, it's time to requalify. Let's not forget, but learn to forgive. God knows we've got to try. It's my responsibility to heal the wounds in me. Compassion, faith, and hope, and love, and truth will set us free. Hey, yeah, Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I say, oh, you rock my soul. Yeah. I say, oh, you rock my soul. Take it away, Rob. There's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. Mother, Father, God, there's a healing going on. I say, oh, you rock my soul. Hey, I say, oh, you rock my soul. I say, oh, my soul.
That's an act to follow. So those of you who have heard me speak here before may have heard me say that at the core of Judaism, at the core of my theology and my cosmology, is the teaching from the first chapter of Genesis that all human beings are created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. It doesn't say Jews are created in the image of God, or men, or white people, or straight people. All humans are created in the image of God. And in the early Middle Ages, the great sage Rabbi Isaac Luria taught a mystical creation story where in the beginning there was only God. There was no room for anything else. So God did something very different for a male. God did tzimtzum and backed up to create space for something else to happen. And in that space there was a vessel, and God's pouring light into that vessel, and the vessel can't handle the light and breaks and shatters into bazillions of pieces, and those shards fall down to the earth. And it becomes our job to find those sparks of holiness and lift them up into a greater unity. And in early modern times, the Hasidic master, Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, taught about the Nikudat Tovah, the spot of goodness that is in everybody. It doesn't matter how bad they are, everybody has a spot of goodness in them, and it's our job to find it and to lift it up. And he also taught that God is hidden in all life, in a blade of grass, in the rock, in the tree, in the cloud, in every creature. And the Ruach Elohim, the breath, the Spirit of God, is in every breath we take, in every inhale and every exhale. Now take that in. Tselem Elohim, we're all created in the image of God. Sparks of the divine, we're out here looking for them to lift them up. They're everywhere. All humans have spots of goodness in them, that at the very least a spot of goodness in them to lift up. And the Ruach Elohim, the Spirit of God, is in all creation, in every part. So where is God now? In these scary times, in these divided times, times where the face of God seems to be truly hidden away too often, in too many places. Where is God? In your breath, in your soul, in every being, in every rock, in every tree, and even in these challenging times. So as Rabbi Nachman said, it is up to us to find that Nikudat Tovah, that spot of goodness in everyone we meet. It is up to us to breathe and to remember that God is with us even in dark and scary times. It is up to us to pray and then to act now and after this election, whatever the results. Yesterday in the Jewish community, we read the story of Noach. Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach said that his one failing was that he believed in God, but he didn't believe God believed in him. He didn't believe he could change the world and save it from destruction. So today we need to pray and above all believe in ourselves and to act. And so I share with you a prayer called We Cannot Merely Pray. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end war. For the world was made in such a way that we must find our own path of peace within ourselves and with our neighbor. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to root out prejudice, for we already have eyes with which to see the good in all people, if we would only use them rightly. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end starvation, for we already have the resources with which to feed the entire world, if we would only use them wisely. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end despair, for we already have the power to clear away slums and give hope, if we would only use our power justly. We cannot merely pray to you, O God, to end disease, for we already have great minds with which to search out cures and healings, if we would only use them constructively. Therefore, we pray instead for strength determination, and willpower. To do instead of merely to pray. To become instead of merely to wish. So that our world may be safe and so that our lives may be blessed. Amen.
Good evening, everybody. It's always good to be here. I love being here. Love it. You know, the things that you have witnessed already. Hazel Miller, Tom Like, man, beautiful. You know, they say that we have sometimes that we have to take a journey in our lives. And one of the longest journeys we can ever take in our life is the mind to the heart. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. And the simple thing is to take that journey is power of prayer. As you witnessed what just happened, these people took you on that journey because you can feel it here. You can feel the warmth and power of prayer. And one of the most powerful things about music, it's a universal language of all life and all creation. And we have different religions and spiritualities. And sometimes we label them, we differentiate them, we argue over them, who's right, who's wrong. But we're all right. We're all wrong sometimes. But the one thing that brings us together is our breath. To send our prayer to the Creator. And when we walk in that breath, it takes one foot in front of the other to create action. And we walk on our Mother Earth, and we take care of her so that our children can come and rejoice as we do, as we live and as we walk on this earth. As we hear that we're all coming from different denominations. A couple of days ago, I just witnessed 500 clergies coming together in the solidarity and the power of prayer for clean water. You see, because water is the first medicine of life. We are made of it. Without water, life would not exist. So, I was asked to come here and be a part of this. I'm always humbled and to bring these values and virtues here that I carry from, that has been passed down for me from generation to generations. These virtues that sometimes, you know, they say one of God's greatest warriors is an eagle. And those feathers are the virtues that we strive to earn so that we wear them with pride, that these are good deeds that we accomplished in our life, and that we never forget that virtue that we walk and earned because it came from a good deed. So we carry them with honor because these are God's warriors. And I was taught by my elders, they say, my grandma said, never overlook the little things in life, for they have the power of a thunderstorm, of a lightning strike. And those little things could be simple, as your breath, as a touch, as a butterfly. Because they teach us something about ourselves, and that's called compassion. And through that compassion, we learn generosity. And sometimes from one place to another, we have to learn perseverance. And all of that molds us to be who we are today, as a person, as a human being. And those teachings become wisdom. And with that wisdom, we help our children. We help our children walk. When they're crawling, to their walking, when they begin their life, this journey in life. So, my body's here, but my spirit's back home with my people, with the people that are standing for clean water, not just for that, but for all the thousands and millions of people. And I've learned something from there. I've learned something in that stand and solidarity of humankind, that when we come together, we're unstoppable. And that the power of prayer can break down walls, can uplift lives, can heal somebody from their deathbed, to make them stand and walk again beside you in life. So I've learned something from people. And that is the commonality we have from our breath. From our hearts, as our spirit sits, we create that breath into prayer. So I'm going to take you to this journey. I'm going to take you on this journey here. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to see the beauty of our Mother Earth. Whatever it is that made you happy, whatever it is and how our Mother Earth showed you that she loved you, whatever it is, was a sunset, a sunrise, the fall, the trees, the falling of the snow, whatever it was that put that power of love from your mother.
헌치막하게 호예와 예예예로이 아이 두마요 하이 오야 때기 오시 말라요 죄와야 기엘로 아에로이 I say mini wichoni to you. Water is life. That today, that this journey that you made from the mind to the heart would be always a good one. So that our children's children that are still coming will know that we remembered them 7 generations from now. So may Daki be Chate washte na pe chiuzape. Mitakuye oyasi. Thank you.
Good evening. 500 years ago, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of Sikhism, declared, "There is no Hindu, there is no Muslim." He was not denying the existence of billions of people, but highlighting that no one is a child of a lesser God. Like today, his society was strife with violence, religious divisions, some adversity and conflict that ran counter to the oneness of the ultimate reality that exists in all of us.
Ik Onkar, or God is one, are the very first words written in the Sikh holy scripture known as the Guru Granth Sahib. For Sikhs, God is the uniting thread that unites all people and permeates the entire diverse universe. Ik, the concept of oneness, is central to the Sikh faith. Guru Nanak sought to promulgate truth, and using his truthful rendition of natural phenomena, he brought a harmonious resolution among many communities in India. He spoke of no one being his enemy and all being his friends. With God within himself and everyone around him, it rendered him and us incapable of hate and prejudice.
It was a beautiful and transformative message. If God's light is contained in every heart, then how is peace in our lifetime not possible? Oneness and love serve as the foundations of Sikhism. It is the aim of every Sikh to recognize the divine within everyone and everything that they encounter.
We will now share Mool Mantar, which is the very opening verse of our holy scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib. It describes the One.
Let's try that again. Hey, the day there's 3 dead batteries, you know you got something happening. Ik Onkar.
There is but one universal presence.
Satnam.
The one's name is truth and permanent existence.
Karta Purak.
The one is the doer of all that exists.
Nirpal.
The one is without fear.
Nirvad.
The one does not feel hatred.
Akal Murat.
The one's being is timeless.
Ajuni Sabhang.
The one is without birth or death and is self-created.
Gur Prasad.
By the Guru's blessings, the one is realized.
We will now share with you some Shabad Kirtan. And for those of you who know of this, this is the original form of Kirtan, which you may have heard in a number of places. This is a meditative moment, and so what I'll ask you to do is to turn within in your own tradition just to hear and to feel the words of the Shabad themselves.
Thank you to the Ragi Jeta. There is an ancient Gaelic prayer that goes, "Deep peace of the running wave to you. Deep peace of the flowing air to you. Deep peace of the quiet earth to you. Deep peace of the shining stars to you. Deep peace of the infinite peace to you." This past May, we were deeply blessed to learn about the Celtic spirituality and the traditions therein from our dear friend, Father Sean O'Lara. And Father Sean is currently in Ireland officiating his nephew's wedding. But he wanted very much for you all to know that his heart is here and that he was so sorry to miss this and that he loves that we're doing this. His sharing from this very platform was so deep and it was so profound for many of us here that we decided to create just a short video to share some of what Father Sean spoke to us about, to remind us all of the oneness that Celtic spirituality is also based on. Let's take a look.
Around the time that Lao Tzu was teaching in China and Confucius, around the same time that Gautama Siddhartha the Buddha and Mahavira were teaching in India, around the same time that the great prophet Zarathustra was teaching in Persia, and around the same time that the great prophet of Israel, Jeremiah, was teaching, around that period of time, a band of warriors invaded the most westerly part of Europe, a little island off the west coast of Europe called Ireland. And we knew them originally as the Milesians. They're better known as the Celts. And in two great battles, they defeated the local population, a tribe of people who were known as the Tuatha Dé Danann, the people of the goddess Dana, demigods. Two great battles in the same location, a place called Moytura. And at the end of the second battle, there was an agreement made between them that they would divide the land of Ireland in equal parts between them. But it wasn't that one group got the north and the other got the south, or one got the east and the other got the west. The agreement was that the Celts would own Ireland above the ground, and the Tuatha Dé Danann would own Ireland underneath the ground. It's interesting for the Celts. The year began in November. It began in the darkness. And you had 6 months of darkness and then 6 months of light. But they have a very different understanding of light and dark. In the West, we tend to think that darkness swallows up light. Darkness is the enemy and light is what we need. The Celtic worldview is totally different. For the Celts, the darkness is the feminine face of God. It is the womb of all possibility. It is the fecund womb that gives birth to everything possible. And the Buddha would say the very, very same thing. He would say, form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. It is from the womb of the nothingness of the darkness that the light springs. The darkness gives birth to the light. It's not that the darkness swallows up the light at the other end, but it gives birth to the light. I call it the communion of all sentient beings, that everything is an articulation of source, and they're all interconnected with each other. And so I find it extraordinarily beautiful that the third great revolution, the third great scientific revolution of the 20th century, the first was relativity theory, the second one was quantum mechanics, and the third was Bell's theorem, the theory of entanglement. And it was an Irish physicist called John Bell who in the 1960s discovered that literally that every single particle in the universe is interconnected to every other particle in the universe. It was judicious that it would be a Celt who would make the connection among all sentient beings.
Michael Collins, pipes and drums. So many beautiful traditions represented here this evening. This is the time now for our tithes and our offerings, when we have an opportunity to give and to support this interfaith ministry. And please know that your gifts allow us to do these kinds of services and to do such important work in the world. I want to acknowledge some of our dear guests that are watching us from around the world. We have people watching us from the Turks Caicos Islands to Cleveland, Ohio, to Istanbul, Turkey. We love you. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us. And you know, this good work in the world that we're doing, for those of you who are not yet aware, Mile High Church and our dear Colorado Sikh family, we are partnering for a joint langar where we will be feeding the homeless and the hungry in Civic Center Park on November 19th, and we expect to feed over 4,000 people. That's interfaith right there. And you know, it is such a beautiful opportunity to give this evening, because please know that your gifts support this endeavor that we're going to be doing, and we're just so excited about this opportunity. And if you're interested at all in helping out on November 19th, please check out in your bulletin. Right there, there's the website located in your program there, and it's under the meals for those in need, and you can sign up if you would like. So ushers, I invite you to please come forward. And as you take out your gift, whatever way that feels right to you, I invite you to just hold your gift and silently bless it, knowing that it goes out into the world to heal and uplift and bless others. How good this is. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. And maybe it might be a good thing right about now for a little Hazel Miller. You think? All right, come on up, darling.
Are you ready for a miracle?
Ready as I can be.
Hey, are you ready for a miracle?
He'll set you free.
Are you ready? 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 Are you ready? Are you ready for a miracle? Are you ready for a miracle?
Ready as I can be.
Oh, are you ready for a miracle?
He'll set you free.
Are you ready?
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 Jesus went unto the well, made the water run, raised up Lazarus from the dead, gave sight to the blind. Jesus, man of Galilee, he walked across the sea. Greater things you shall do. He gave the power to you and me. I want to know, are you ready for a miracle?
Ready as I can be.
Are you ready for a miracle?
He'll set you free.
Are you ready?
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 Ready? Jesus taught the lame to walk, destroyed the devil's plan, healed the leper, filled 5,000 with just one command. He said, if he has ears, let him hear. And blessed be the pure of heart, for they shall know the truth. I want to know, are you ready for a miracle? Are you ready for this miracle? Are you ready? 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 Blessed be the ones who mourn, for they shall find their peace. Blessed be the ones who thirst, blessed be the meek. Blessed be the innocent, for they shall all be free. Blessed be the miracle. I want to know, are you ready for a miracle? Are you ready? Make that joyful noise. Come on. Are you ready for a miracle? Ready as I can be.
Are you ready for a miracle?
Spirit will set you free.
Are you ready?
Ready?
Let's have it up for Hazel Miller. Yeah. Now, I tell you what, this is my kind of prayer meeting. Indeed. Before I go any further and share a few new thought perspectives with our esteemed brothers and sisters and colleagues here, I just want to acknowledge our entire IM ministry, our Interfaith and Multicultural Ministry, headed up by Reverend Shannon O'Hurley, probably soon to be Dr. Shannon O'Hurley, and her assistant Marjorie Helms on our staff. Let's acknowledge them for just doing such fine, fine work. Our teaching is known as Science of Mind and Spirit. We're a part of a larger movement called the New Thought Movement, which is really ageless wisdom, new thought, if you really want to get down to it. For what we have done and what our founders did was draw from the rich original mystic traditions of all the great faith paths, East and West, the indigenous ones, and seeking to bring it forward as spiritual values and spiritual tools, a practical spirituality usable by all people. And intrinsic in that is what you've been hearing tonight from the other faith paths, and that is oneness. We absolutely stand for our oneness with God and in God, our oneness with all of creation and all sentient beings, and the oneness of all humankind. Thus, it is very evident, self-evident to us, that we are all brothers and sisters. And so then we seek, out of that context, to build bridges, and that's what this interfaith ministry is all about, to build bridges, and to all of us take on the responsibility of bridge building wherever we can do that. For instance, it's true that if the world is round, why take sides? When you really get down to it. And so we really place a significant responsibility upon everyone who is willing to follow our path, or any path. We suggest it's about our personal responsibility to become spiritual first responders in this world. When tragedies occur, or when the evidence of our illusion of separation rears its head yet again in our society or in our lives, we're called to be spiritual first responders. Now, there are times in ours, as in any teaching, when it's incumbent upon us to proclaim an injustice or forms of discrimination, and to proclaim them to be spiritually incongruent and thus unacceptable. For even if we were to ignore something, we're still engaged with it, all right? And so then, having done that, we seek to rise above that to the solution. Having proclaimed what no longer needs to be, what is incongruent with the seed of divinity in every being, we then seek to rise into the realm of the solution. For as I've said many times to our congregation here, ultimately, our teaching, our faith is not about changing the world. Instead, we are championing an emerging world. We're seeking to champion an emerging kind of consciousness, a way of knowing in our hearts that will reform and transform this world of ours. And that's what we're about. And so the call that we make to any individual willing to hear it is for all of us to live now the potential and the vision that we cherish for this world, to take it on and start living it in our lives. For we do indeed stand for a world that works for everyone. Now, quite some years ago, a member of our faith tradition, a New Thought person, Jill Jackson, wrote a song that would be taken into nearly every faith path, especially here in the West, and it's the song, "Let There Be Peace on Earth, and Let It Begin With Me." And we kind of, I love that it did come out of our faith tradition, and yet now it's known to be a part of many faith traditions, and many faiths sing that song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. We must remember that tonight. It must begin with us. Now, that great way shower, Jesus, reminded us that when you pray, and we've done a lot of prayers for peace here, when you pray, if you're holding anything against anyone, leave the temple and go take care of that and heal that with the other. Then make your prayers be known. I want to issue a challenge tonight, is that in consonance with your prayers, I challenge you to move into forgiveness and reconciliation in your life.
I challenge you to leave here and heal the most significant forgiveness issues in your life as your willingness to bring forth greater peace. For your peace prayers will rise no higher than the forgiveness and the clarity in your heart. We're called to learn how, humanity, if we're going to be open-hearted, how to forgive each other when we hurt each other, when we stumble over our evolutionary process. And so I challenge you to look in your own life. Pray for the world, but pray for you. And forgive yourself for being a part of the political divide that's going on right now, if in fact you are. You may have your own opinion, and you may do what you choose to do at the polls on Tuesday if you haven't already. And yet, what about the energy you're carrying? Is it about peace on earth now and letting it begin with you, or is it still on the divide? If the world is round, why take sides? If there's a higher consciousness that sees the unity of all people, then can we be a part of the forgiving, first of ourselves for the initial judging and the initial separation, and then can we forgive as a way of seeing the purity, the spot of God, as it was said here. I think it was, Rabbi, that you said that, in one another, and see them as the child of the divine that they always shall be, no matter what they're playing out in their lives. To become so good at this, that when tragedy might enter into each of our experiences, that we might be willing, as we have also grieved, to then forgive, as the Sikhs in Oak Creek, in the anniversary of the shooting, the tragic shooting in that temple, on the first-year anniversary, came together and held up the American flag and forgave and prayed for the soul of the shooter. As the Amish in our country so willingly did when a shooter went into their community, to forgive them. As the beautiful people of the Black Church in Charlotte, North Carolina did, soon after the shooting, prayed to forgive Dylan Roof. May we too become really adept at remembering that our prayers will only go as far as our forgiving hearts. And so what we can know here tonight is that when head and hands and hearts are in harmony, there's a soul force that goes forth. There's a soul force that's unleashed through us that is more than sufficient for healing and for peace. May you know that force within you, and may you let it be. So I'd like to close with a prayer from the founder of our tradition, the Science of Mind and Spirit, Dr. Ernest Holmes. It was written in July 1953, and it was entitled A Prayer for My Country. I invite you to take this in. Believing in the divine destiny of the United States of America and in the preservation of liberty, security, and self-expression for all, I offer this, my prayer for my country. I know that divine intelligence governs the destiny of the United States of America, directing the thought and the activity of all who guide its affairs. I know that success, prosperity, and happiness are the gifts of freedom and are the divine heritage of everyone, that they are now operating in the affairs of every individual. I know that divine guidance enlightens the collective mind of the people of this country, causing it to know that economic security may come to all without the loss of either personal freedom or individual self-expression. I know that no one can believe or be led to believe that freedom must be surrendered in order to ensure economic security for all. The all-knowing mind contains the answer to every problem which confronts this country. I know that every leader in this country is now directed by this all-knowing mind and has the knowledge of a complete solution to every problem. Each is compelled to act upon this knowledge to the end that abundance, security, and peace shall come to all. And I know that this spiritual democracy shall endure, guaranteeing to everyone personal liberty, happiness, and self-expression. And so it is. Amen.
Let's all take a deep breath. What a night to be together. I want to just share a couple of quick things with you. Again, if you were not able to complete your prayer, please drop it off over in the Prayer and Care Center on your way out. There's a practitioner there. I also want to let you know that as we move into the holiday season, we have a beautiful solstice service that's coming up. We have incredible candlelight services. And then our next I Am service, our interfaith service, is February 19th. And we will be diving into the wisdom of the Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and the Tree of Life. So you don't want to miss that. It's going to be marvelous. We also, as always, have education tables out in the lobby and all kinds of materials about all the different faiths represented tonight. I invite you to visit those. Our Hindu sisters and brothers have just celebrated Diwali. It is the festival of lights. It is all about our light and our love overcoming darkness and challenge. And so for our closing blessing, I want to share a short prayer with you from the Upanishads, from one of their sacred texts. By the way, it's thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. It says, "May peace and peace and peace and peace be everywhere. Amen."
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Please sing along. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world